Hey everybody, I'm Jennifer Bell with Bell Marketing, and I just am wishing you the best weekend yet so far, because it's not over yet. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about if you are tired of the rat race, if you're tired of dreading waking up, if you're dreading going to bed each day because of a job that you despise, because of multiple jobs you despise, and that there is a way that you can get out of that. Millions of people are finding success doing just that, leaving the 9 to 5, staying home with their families, living lifestyles that they always dreamed of, and you can too. So I had started, I always wanted to work online. Well, not work online because it wasn't always online. I always wanted to work from home and work for myself. Though working for someone else, getting screamed at, a lot of the fast food places, it's all screaming, it's all stress all the time. People not showing up for work, people not doing their part. When you want a day off, you have to find somebody who's willing to, and that's if they like you, because, working in close quarters, you're not always friends. If they just decide they don't want to cover you at the last minute, and it's just a whole lot of mess. Waking up each day, dreading going to work, leaving, dreading going back the next day, dreading waking up because you knew what you had to look forward to. And that's just what I wanted to get out of. But I also am not a college person. I'm not a school type person, because I didn't have fun in school. So I didn't want to go to college. That just wasn't me. I didn't have a good time in school, K through 12. And so I just didn't want to repeat it. So I never really thought that I would learn how to market, how to do all the skills that I'm doing now. And so it's really incredible for me. So basically how I got started was I was just tired of feeling like I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time, all this kind of jazz that a lot of people feel. So I joined direct sales. I was in a business and I absolutely loved their products. It didn't last long though, because I just didn't like the fact of having to have monthly parties. People would get burnt out quick, and I didn't have much of a following to be able to have people be able to buy from me monthly on a regular basis. So, a lot of my friends did. I started gaining friends, and some of them were doing amazing in it, but I just didn't. They had a nice little following. They had been doing it for a couple years, so that makes sense. But for someone just starting out, it's hard. You have to message them, message everybody on your friends list, and that just wasn't me. I started feeling burnout doing it myself, so I could imagine them. And I was the one trying to make an income off it. So I left, I moved on, I moved into network marketing, and that was honestly the best decision I made. I love the products and the company I was in, but I love what I'm learning now. It's been a process. I've, trying to figure out what I want, what I like, what works for me, following other people, but not getting overwhelmed. It's been a process, but this is the best decision I ever made, because honestly, this is the most self-confidence I've ever had. The most self-growth I've ever had is in 2 years. Usually when I'd see something that looked interesting, but then my brain would start, get to working, and I'd think of every reason why it can't work. So don't even try. That was just basically my life, just floating through life, just getting used to knowing what to expect. At least at those jobs that I didn't like, I would know how much I was making. I know what I had to do when I went in, all that kind of jazz. But it's like I was tired of that. I was tired of getting screamed at, seeing everybody else. Well, not everybody else, because, I wasn't the best worker, but there was a lot of people who just weren't doing anything. And it's like, why am I getting screamed at and I'm doing more than they are, and that's just, I was a young adult, so I was very immature back then. Obviously, I have some blame in that, but, just getting treated with way less respect than I think I should have as an adult it was mind-blowing to me. So I just didn't like it. Some people are working these jobs because they're trying to work their way up. They want to be a chef. They want the experience. They want to own their own restaurant. So that's completely fine. They can deal with it because they're level-headed. That's their dream, so they're not going to let anything stop them. But that wasn't my dream, so I just didn't enjoy it. And it's like every business, there's going to be something you don't like, and you just got to decide if your goal is worth dealing with all that. That just wasn't me. Even people that are like crazy, amazingly good at what they do, they still have their days. Like authors, you can find these best-selling authors that have their off days. They have writer's block. Doctors, sometimes they've just seen so much stuff and it just kind of throws them off. Sometimes they could be thrown off just because mentally they're just carrying a lot, and it's stressful when I don't even know. I've never been a doctor, so I can't even say. But everybody has their off day. Everybody's entitled to have their off day. Um, but it's just crazy how much I'm learning. I'm learning how to market. I'm learning how to get out of my comfort zone. I'm learning how to engage with people. I'm learning how to brand myself so I can end up being like one of the big corporations where you see their logo, you know exactly what they are, what kind of quality they have, what they sell. So even if they moved on to something else, you would still recognize them. That's branding. And I'm learning how to do that. I'm building friendships with people that I never would have known from all over the world. And that's fun for me. I love meeting people, but it's trying to figure out how to engage with them was scary. I could talk to somebody at the park to another mom at the park, like all day long, because we have something in common. We're not, we might not necessarily want to be friends, but talking to somebody, like, I don't know, it just seems so much different just actually trying to meet people there. I don't even know what it is, because you'd think that like it'd be easier to meet people at the park and try and talk to them, but I guess because my anxiety, it's just like, wow, actually thinking about going and meeting them just like kind of terrified me. And they could be the coolest person ever, but it's like, it's kind of like you have something in you that makes you so bad want to meet people, but then there's another part of you that's like, oh, I gotta meet people. Are they gonna like me? Or they, once they see me in person, or blah blah blah. And it's just a whole level of stress in meeting people online, so it's kind of scary for me. But I'm learning all that kind of stuff, and I'm learning so many skills that I can have lifelong and pass down to my kids. Like my daughter, she wants to be a couple things that are basically entrepreneurs, and so I can pass these skills on down to her so that she doesn't have to. I mean, she wants to go to college. If that's what she wants, then I will stand behind her, but she doesn't have to learn the things that I'm learning. So that's incredible. These are just literally things that no one can ever take from me, and I can always have in my tool belt of life that I can take in any business, literally any business. And even now, I decided I didn't like cold messaging, I didn't like cold calling, and so I found a different way. I didn't have to do that because I just didn't feel good. Especially now I'm getting a lot of messages. It's just like, that's just not how I want to do things. I didn't want to come off pushy. I was always afraid I was coming off pushy. When you're worried about ranking up, that can be stressful. So you don't really realize how you're coming off to people. And a lot of people, I don't think, are being intentional about it. It's just like when it's being done to you, you kind of realize what it looks like. And you just realize that's not how you want to do business. You don't want to seem pushy. You want people to stay with you for a while. You want people that respect you and like the way you go about things. And even if it's not intentional, it's just like once people get that first taste of you, of how you do things, then that could be it. So I found a way, along with a lot of other people, of a way that we can build our businesses and learn how to brand and learn how to engage and learn how to build friendships and learn how to brand ourselves without having to do all that stuff that kind of made, I shouldn't say kind of, it did make us cringe. And we're making money. We're making money without having to sell, inbox a single person. We're not messaging people unless they ask us for it, the information. So that's crazy to me. And it is possible for you to do it too. I know it can be scary because there's a lot of businesses out there. Some of the people, the way they're coming at you, or there actually are scams, they can kind of throw you off and scare you off. But there's things you could do about it. Do a little research. You always research every business. Don't just join just because you feel like you know the person. Do research, because they make mistakes too. Your friends can make mistakes too, and not always look into everything, because a lot of times people, they can be looking up to other people and they're giving them this information that might not even be true, but because they trusted them, that's what happens. It doesn't mean your friend's a bad person. It just means that they kind of got sucked into what was told to them. And so they believe it because they're having success. And so they're thinking that's what works. You could choose to do something different. You can choose to not have to worry about dreading going to work, waking up, going to sleep, that whole pattern of just dreadfulness, that you have to look forward to something that you hate, something that you are not excited about, that you're not passionate about, that you feel like is dead end for you. And you can totally wake up one day and just decide you want to try something new. And of course it could be scary, but sometimes the things in life that are the most scariest are the most worthwhile. You got to put a little effort. You got to be consistent. You've got to show up every day. You've got to be coachable, and you can learn a lot of skills. You can be well on your way to the time freedom and the financial freedom that you want, but you just have to be willing to go after it and really basically want it in the first place. I don't, a lot of people will just throw down $100,000 and be okay with the possible debt for a franchise, and there's no guarantee that's going to work out either. There are plenty of franchises that they might do good for like a year or two, but then anything could happen. You have something major going on in the economy. You have customers that just aren't showing up. Maybe you have employees that aren't showing up, or they're just driving off customers that do show up. You're having a lot of bad reviews left, so then people just aren't showing up. There could be any kind of number of reasons why a franchise might not work out for that long. But they won't spend $100 on a business that they could start from home. So, and I know $100 to a company that you don't know or an opportunity you don't know can be scary, but I think $100,000 is way scarier because that's way more money. And this way you can learn the skills that you would need if you did want to open up a franchise down the road, and you don't have to worry about taking out a loan. So you just have to look at it if you would rather just risk $100 or risk 100,000. They're both amazing opportunities. The franchise is good because you know the company, you know what they sell, you know what they have, what their quality is. But at the same time, you can build yourself as a brand where people get to know you too. You might want to open something down the road once you get these skills, learn how to market, how to brand yourself. So then that way, if you decide you don't want that franchise anymore, you can move on to something else. You just got to be willing to look at things and not be afraid so much. There's so many more good opportunities than there are scams. You just have to know how to research. You have to dig into everything. Do your due diligence, do research, check out the company, check out the person that's, pitching you the opportunity, and decide if it looks worthwhile, if it looks like their results are good, if the person looks like a decent person and they're doing really good for themselves, or at least they're just really active where they're just gaining trustworthy presence. Because a lot of times we can be pitched by people that aren't online too much. They're they don't even have a profile picture, and so of course you don't want to give them your money, because you don't even know what they look like, where they, anything about them. There's nothing that actually proves that this money is going to help you in the long run. Do due diligence, and just research. But, if you would love to see what I'm doing that is helping me gain a lot of self confidence, a lot of self growth, a lot of knowledge, a lot of lifelong skills that I can take anywhere, just let me know and I'd be glad to sit down and talk with you. There are thousands of people finding success here, either with financial or skill wise, knowledge wise. And sometimes the knowledge, even if you don't gain the financial right away, the knowledge can mean just as much. The fact that you can take this anywhere and no one can take it from you is incredible. We can always make money, but we can't always gain that type of knowledge and have the opportunity to gain the knowledge that we want to have forever and that we can pass on down to our kids. That's even the best thing, is that you can pass your knowledge down to your kids. Like my daughter, she wants to own her own business. I can pass down to her what I know so that she doesn't have to worry about trying to learn it, paying all this money for it, for the same thing I can teach her. So if you would love to know how me and thousands of other people are seeing various different kinds of success, both with learning how to market, how to brand, how to engage, how to network, comment below and I'd love to have a chat with you. If you found any value in this, hit subscribe and hit the bell for all notifications, because I will definitely be doing more videos. And then also hit the like button if you liked it. I would very much appreciate it. And yeah, you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I hope to see you next time. Bye.